The French manufacturer Citroen has been growing steadily in the Indian market, and helping its growth is the CQ platform, which underpins the cars like the C3 hatchback and also the EC3. This car right beside me is the C3 Aircross, and this is the first time Citroen will be offering an SUV or a crossover type body shell on the same platform. By the time we reach to the end of this video, you might feel that the Citroen C3 Aircross is missing a few features. However, it is offering something unique that no other manufacturer in this segment offers till now. Will that be enough and make it a challenge for the competition? Well, let's find out. Now, since the C3 Aircross shares the same platform with the C3 hatchback, you will find a lot of similarities between these two cars, especially when it comes to the design. At the front, you will find the same Chevron logo that you find with the C3 hatchback that extends to become the DRLs. Now, these are the typical Citroen DRLs, which also adds a unique identity to the car. However, these headlamps right here, these do not get any LEDs or projectors. These are simple halogen lamps, and these are one of the many features that you might miss if you buy the new Citroen C3 Aircross. Apart from that, you do get a bulky looking cladding at the front. These are called the skid plates. However, these are simply plastics and not the metal to save the car from any kind of rocks or anything like that. However, they do add a very muscular look to the vehicle. Now, coming to the side, you will find newly designed 17-inch alloy wheels that look quite cool. Apart from that, you also get very flared up side claddings or the flared out wheel arches which cover the side claddings, and they do look quite muscular and add a sense of muscularity, a sense of road presence to the vehicle, and they do work quite well in my opinion. Apart from that, if you come right behind, you find the ORVMs and the turn indicators are integrated right to it. However, if you take a closer look at them, these are only halogens. And in this whole car, apart from the front DRLs, you won't find LED anywhere in the car, including the tail lamps. Now, coming back to the side of the vehicle, you find the typical flap type door handles that you also get to see with the C3 hatchback. You find the typical keyhole as well. Now, this doesn't get a keyless entry, which is one of the many other features that you might be missing from the car. However, you do get a massive wheelbase. This is in fact the longest wheelbase in this segment. You also get a biggish kind of window. How it feels from the inside, we will show you in a few seconds. You also get some of the roof rails. However, these roof rails are not usable. You cannot load them with any load, even though there is no sunroof present. So these are only for the looks and to add a height and a sense of muscularity to the vehicle. Now, coming to the rear, you get a wraparound type tail lamp which runs from the side of the vehicle to the rear. It gets a 3D kind of design and does look quite good, especially when it works at the night. Now, everything is integrated to this setup, including the reverse lamp, the turn indicator and the brake lamp. If you come to the middle of the car, you will find the shark fin antenna installed at the top of the vehicle. You also get a high mounted tail lamp. You also get a skid plate in the rear. You get two sensors and a lot of badges, which is something that a lot of cars are missing nowadays. We will say a job well done with the badges it says. Now, if you want to open the boot, you will have to bend down a little because the button is located right above the registration plate, and it opens up to a good amount of space, which you can see we have utilized to put about 3 overnighters and about 4 bags. So there is a decent amount of space in this car as well. Now, let's quickly jump inside the vehicle. Let's see what it offers. Now, we are on the driver's seat of the new Citroen C3 Aircross, and you will find a lot of similarities to the hatchback version of this car. The dashboard and everything else looks very similar. However, Citroen has added a different color theme to this car. Especially if you look at this part, you will get a new color scheme. Just like the C3 hatchback, you will get different scheme of colors or different themes with this car as well. Everything around here is hard plastic. However, the design is as such that it will make you feel very premium, very upmarket. Apart from that, coming to right in front of me lies a flat bottom steering wheel, and it gets integrated buttons which you can control the infotainment system and the 7-inch screen with the help of these buttons. Now, 7-inch screen itself, it gets a few modes that you can change from the buttons here. Citroen says There are few drivers like less information, few of you might like more information, and this display can show all of that. The steering wheel, what it doesn't get is a cruise control system, which is again one of the few features that you might miss when you buy this car or live with this car. Now coming to the center, you get a massive 10.25-inch infotainment screen, and this is a high resolution screen, and it does have a high level of graphics. It also gets Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and both of them are wireless. However, you do not get a wireless phone charger, so you will have to use your wire to charge the phone, but you can connect to the infotainment system wirelessly. Now the air vents, as I told you before, they look quite similar to the air vents on the outside, and they look pretty cool, and these are similar to the C3 hatchback as well. There is no automatic climate control around here, so you will have to move these knobs and dials to set up your temperature and fiddle with them as you go along. You get a space to keep your phone, but as I told you before, you do not get a wireless phone charger. And there is a lot of space in the car to keep your knickknacks, like you can put a whole bottle right down around here and a few more if you want. There are separate cup holders, if you can see from here, so there is a lot of use of space in this car. You do get only this manual transmission, so this is the only gear lever that you will get with every variant of the new C3 Aircross. Apart from that, you also get a space around here, the central console, a handbrake, and the controls for the rear windows. They are not located on the driver's side but on the middle. Also, the rear passengers do not get the buttons to the windows on their doors. They are right here. So you also get an armrest which you can unfold and fold if you want, but it is only for the driver. The passenger, the co-driver, if they want to use, they will have to fight a bit with the driver. Apart from that, there is ample amount of shoulder room. However, it could have been better. Now we have switched to the 7-seater version of the Citroen C3 Aircross, or how Citroen likes to call it. This is the 5+2-seater version. It does get 2 seats in the rear. How do we access that? Well, there is this ribbon that you can pull to tumble up the seats, and this is how much space it offers. So my height is around 5'11", and you can see how much space I get. There is zero under thigh support. There is almost no knee room. This seat has been folded flat. You can do the same with this one, and you can remove these seats as well. We will show you how. However, in terms of features, you do not get exactly anything but 2 cup holders on both the sides. The AC vents are right there for the second row seat passengers. Now we are in the middle row seat of the new Citroen C3 Aircross 5+2 seat version. It gets 50 mm of less leg space compared to the 5-seater version. However, you do get an additional feature which is on the roof, and this is the roof mounted ventilation system. This is not a condenser system. This is not a true and true climate control system. However, it sucks in the air through this port and throws it out, so the passengers in the rear can also get cooled air which is circulated through the vents in the front. Apart from that, coming to the space itself, since this is the 7-seater version, it is 50 mm less spacious than the 5-seater version. Still, you can see that you get ample amount of knee room, and there is ample amount of space for your feet to roam around as well. However, what you don't get is ample amount of under thigh support. You will feel that there is a lack of under thigh support, especially if you are going to be in this car on the longer journeys. Apart from that, you do get a wider, a biggish windscreen or the windows, as I told you before when I was showing the car from the outside, and it does feel quite big. However, with this unit, the car might feel claustrophobic to you or to some of you. Apart from that, there is no any kind of foldable armrest for the rear passengers, but this is a 60-40 split seat that you can split and carry your bigger items or bigger luggages. Coming to the features, apart from this AC unit or the ventilation unit, you also get 2 USB chargers right here. You get a cup holder in the middle, and you also get the Windows power button right here in the middle. You do not get any kind of power buttons on the door pads in this car. However, you do get space for bottle holders. Now all the variants of the Citroen C3 Aircross, they come with the same 1.2 litre turbocharged petrol engine. It generates a maximum power of 110 PS and peak torque of 190 Nm. This is one of the smoothest engines that I have driven from this segment, and it gets loads of low end torque, so much so that you do not even need to touch the accelerator while driving the car at the slower speeds. Only modulating the clutch will do, just like many diesel cars. Apart from that, at around 100 kmph in the 6th gear, the engine is only doing hover around 2000 rpm, which is again a very relaxed state, and it shows how powerful the engine is. Apart from that, coming to the gearbox itself, Citroen is currently only offering a 6-speed manual transmission with the C3 Aircross. However, they do say that they will soon bring an automatic transmission to this car, and it is not going to be an AMT. The third gear of this manual transmission is super wide. The gear ratio is super excellent in my opinion. You can use it from the slow speed of 20 kmph and even take the car above 100 kmph without touching the clutch, and this car will go. It is so excellent. Now the strongest part of the new Citroen C3 Aircross remains its ride quality and comfort. We have been driving this car in both the city roads and on the open highways, and we really love how this car behaves in both the road types. The Citroen C3, it gobbles up all the potholes, and I think that all the passengers, regardless of their seating position in the front seats or the rear seats, they will really enjoy this car over any kind of road surfaces. Apart from that, when it comes to the highways, the steering, it weighs up very nicely. Otherwise, it remains very lightweight, making it a good car to maneuver. On the highways, the heavy steering wheel also adds confidence to the vehicle and makes it one of the best car to drive in both the road types. Now Citroen C3 Aircross is missing a long list of features, as you've seen in the video. However, Citroen here is playing a different ball game altogether. It wants you to own, it wants you to have a bigger car and hopefully a lower price. However, if you want a car that gets a long list of features and gadgets, this car is not meant for you. Buy the Citroen C3 Aircross if you want to have a great ride quality, a superior level of comfort and a big space, and hopefully a lower price point. How much the price of the Citroen C3 should be so that it can compete and become a threat to the competition? Well, do let us know that in the comment section below. And for more such videos, do not forget to subscribe to the Car Talk channel and press the bell icon to get regular updates.